Hello everybody, I am your host Too Elusive, and this time we are going to be talking about how to perform Sonic's spin shot ability. Now, this was something I was originally going to put in Act 2 of the tutorial guide for Sonic, but I figured this should be something that should have its own separate episode, mainly because I want to get into depth on how the tech works and how you'll be able to perform it consistently as well. So yeah, we're just going to give the tech its own spotlight. Anyway, let's not delay this any further. Let's get right in on how we can learn this tech. Alright, so for those who don't know what spin shotting is, basically it's when you perform Sonic's spin dash and you perform a hop, but you're carrying all of Sonic's momentum while you're doing so. This is basically a useful tech when you want to recover horizontally, or you want to be able to apply it to your mix-up options as well. And it's going to look something like this. So that's basically how it's going to look when you have it properly applied and you're able to do it consistently. And I'm going to basically break down how you can do that move. Now, in order to perform the move, the main goal is to be able to cause Sonic to jump just as he's releasing the spin charge, but before the actual spin comes out. And the timing for that is super strict. But once you have the proper timing for it down and you've got a good rhythm going, you'll be able to do it consistently just like that. It all just comes down to practice. The main goal to be able to do it consistently, as far as inputting the move goes, is to make it extremely easy for you to quickly input that jump so Sonic can constantly do it. And there's 3 ways that you can make him jump out of spin as quickly as possible. There's the use of the regular jump button, which I would highly suggest you attach it to your shoulder pads rather than using the face buttons. Because depending on where the positioning of your special button is along with your jump buttons, you're probably not going to be able to reach the buttons quickly enough to be able to activate the spin. So if you insist on using jump, I highly suggest you put them on the shoulder buttons or try to map the buttons as closely together as possible so you can go ahead and use a jump button and your special as quickly as you can. I think it might be a little easier to do it on a Pro controller because the buttons are evenly spaced together, so you may be able to pull it off on that one much easier. Your next method is to use the A button, which is just hitting attack. Because Sonic can actually jump out of his spin if you hit the attack button. Now, in order to do it with the A button, all you're really doing is dragging your thumb across the A button as soon as you release your spin shot. And it's easier to do it on a GameCube controller because the A button is so fat on that one, and the special button is sitting right next to it. So, it would look something like this. Basically what I did was that I literally just held spin and dragged my thumb right across the A button immediately. Like, think of it as like flicking your A button. You're just dragging your thumb across the A button. It's a very easy, really simple input to do. Doesn't require a lot of muscle memory to do it. You're literally just dragging your thumb across the A button there. The only reason why I'm a little inconsistent with it is because I prefer the C-stick method, which is what I'm going to teach you next. Now, the C-stick method is basically the same thing where you're dragging your thumb across the C-stick. Yeah, that's the only difference between the A button and the C-stick button. You're just dragging your thumb across the C-stick and flicking it down. Yep, that's all you're doing. You're just sticking the C-stick down. You're just flicking it down. The thing with the C-stick, however, is that it requires you to map your C-stick to attack, basically tilt attacks, rather than smash attacks. Because if it's on smash attack, it's not going to work. You have to map it to tilt attacks instead. That was a misinput there. But yeah. As long as you are flicking the C-stick down, which is what I do anyway because I'm just dragging my thumb downward, you'll be able to initiate the spin shot no problem. So that's basically how it's going to look. And of course, if you input it and you don't go anywhere, like what you just saw there, that just means you input it way too soon if you don't go anywhere. If you do go somewhere, however, and you barely move, when it's going to look like that, basically, that means you input it way too late. Like, you shouldn't even hear the little sound effect it makes when you input it too slow. Yeah, I was right, when you input it too slow. See? When you hear that sound, that means you input it too slow. Now, if you don't hear that sound effect, but you still don't go anywhere, and all you hear is the jump sound, like what you just saw there, that basically means you're just inputting it way too fast. Now, I was trying to input it, like, incorrectly on purpose that time, but I actually got the move down. But yeah, that basically means you're inputting it way too fast. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an exercise that'll help you get the timing down as quickly as possible. And we're not going to be using this character to practice that exercise. There's a completely different character who's going to help us out, because that character is what allowed me to get used to spin shotting back during the Smash 4 days. So I'll see you when I switch over to that character. Alright, so believe it or not, Corrin has a technique known as insta-pinning, which actually has the same exact input as trying to spin shot. So the way insta-pinning works is literally the same. You can activate the move by either dragging your thumb across the A button or dragging your thumb down across the C stick. So, like so. It's going to look like that. Back when I had a Corrin phase, I would practice this move constantly and realize that this is the same input that I could use on Sonic's spin charge. So if you want to become more consistent with spin shotting, practicing how to insta-pin with Corrin will definitely get your hands ready and become mechanically aware so you can input that same move for Sonic. If you can insta-pin with this character, you can do your spin shot as Sonic. Trust me on this, it becomes a lot easier. But yeah, you get the idea. You definitely want to practice that input with Corrin to get used to insta-pinning, and then just apply it to this character. Now, one other thing I gotta note here is that if you're going to use that method to get used to the input, do know that when you insta-pin as Corrin, the input is going to be a little slower with Sonic. Like, it's not going to be as quick, but you'll at least have better awareness on how you want to input it. Plus, it'll allow you to find a more comfortable way of getting this input down. The moment you find an input that is most comfortable for you, this move is very, very easy to do. And then you can go ahead and mix up the move on your own, make it your own tool that you want to be able to utilize in the actual match. You can use it as a recovery or mix up options for different applications. There's all kinds of things you can do if you're learning how to spin shot properly. Now, there's another thing I need to talk to you about when it comes to spin shotting. You can only spin shot if you have your second jump. If you don't have your second jump, the move is not going to work at all. So let's say you're off stage and you're trying to recover, you use your double jump, you're thinking, alright, I can just spin shot back. No, you're going to sink if you go for a spin shot after using your double jump. You need to have that in order to do it. That's why it works a lot easier when you're using your side B rather than your down B variant. Now, I'm pretty sure you can use your down B variant to spin shot, but I don't even bother because it's just so much easier to do it out of your side B than your down B. If you can do it out of down B, you can only do it in the air because you need to be airborne in order to spin shot. The reason why it's much easier to spin shot out of your side B is because when you begin the move, it initially puts you in the air already, which is where you want to be in order to utilize it. The only time you legit cannot spin shot out of your side B, however, is when you hold it down to the point where it turns yellow like that, and it becomes unspin shotable at that point. And the reason for that is because when you're in that yellow glow, you lose the little hop in the very beginning. So no matter what you do, you can't spin shot out of it. See? I'm actually putting in the input and I can't spin shot because I lose that little hop in the beginning. The only time you can legit get the spin shot hop after it starts glowing yellow is when you're suspended in the air. That's the only time that's ever going to work. You have to be suspended in the air in order to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to run along the ground and you're not going to get the shot. So that's what you got to keep in mind. Now, as far as practicing the inputs go, I would say put no more than 30 minutes a day practicing the tech. And if you want to go longer than 30 minutes, that's completely on you. That's your own volition here. But I know that time is precious. Definitely put 30 minutes a day trying to learn the move. The first 15, you should just focus all your brain power on doing the tech over and over again. Just do that over and over again, get the tech down, put all your brain power on it, and then for the next 15 minutes after that, put on like a video or watch something or have a podcast or whatever. Just have something going on in the background that allows your brain to wander, but still input the same move over and over again for the next 15 minutes. This basically allows you to get muscle memory down, so it becomes much easier for you to put the tech in, and you don't have to think about it when you're in the middle of a match. Because the last thing you want to do is be in the heat of battle, and you got to put a little bit of focus into utilizing that move, but then you mess up the input because you're too busy worrying about it, and you know how the whole thing goes. So definitely use that method to practice, or you could do what I do and put like a little song when you're practicing, and try to practice to the tempo of the music. But yeah, you get the idea. You just want to be able to make it fun for you, practice on your own time, make it work for you. You'll be able to get it down no problem. Anyway, I hope this guide really helps out. Once again, I am Too Elusive, and as always, play until your thumbs fall off. I'll see you guys later. Peace.